What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex here, and you're watching a Ragin Ronin review. Got a review for you. Last Tuesday, I watched Tomorrowland, and Tomorrowland is the latest film from director Brad Bird. Brad Bird is most known for his work on directing Ratatouille, The Incredibles, as well as The Iron Giant, which are three really great animated films. He also directed Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which I gotta say is the best installment in the Mission Impossible franchise. So right away, you know he's got a really good track record. He's a very good storyteller, and because of that, I was looking forward to watching Tomorrowland. Now, before watching Tomorrowland, I did not know what to expect about this film. I had no idea what it was about. I watched the teaser, it didn't really do anything for me. Then I watched another trailer, then that's when I felt a little bit intrigued, because it showed us a glimpse of Tomorrowland, and it looked really, really promising. Alright? Another thing that I knew about the movie was that it's based off of Disneyland's theme park of the same name. Kind of like how Pirates of the Caribbean, the films, are based off of the theme park ride in Disneyland. They just wrap the story around it, and then now you have a film. So same thing applies to Tomorrowland. Alright? Now, Tomorrowland stars George Clooney, and it also stars, let's see who it stars. It stars Hugh Laurie, you know, Dr. House MD, Britt Robertson, and Rafi Cassidy, as well as Tim McGraw, and Catherine Hahn, and Keegan-Michael Key, and Chris Bauer. But anyways, none of all that really matters. Because even though George Clooney is in it, he really didn't need to be in this movie. Because this movie did not feel like a film. It felt like an advertisement for Tomorrowland, the theme park ride. It felt like a 2-hour ad for Disneyland. That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like an actual film or a story to me. I mean, it felt like it had a story in the first half of the film, but later on, okay, let me tell you how this movie felt like. It kind of feels like actually going into Disneyland, okay? You got your ticket, you buy a hot dog and a big drink, and you know, you buy a couple of souvenirs, and you are ready. You're ready to go on a couple of rides, but then you see that the rides have very long lineups. So you expect to line up. You line up for a very long time, a couple of hours, and then you go on this ride, and then later on you feel like, okay, that wasn't what I expected. Or that was kind of not worth a 3 to 4 hour wait. That's kind of how I felt about Tomorrowland, okay? It's not really what I expected. And, you know, should I blame myself for that, for having high expectations? Or does the movie really have a poor structure to it, in the sense that it doesn't really live up to the hype that is being built up throughout the movie? Because what this movie is really about is getting to Tomorrowland. It's about getting to this futuristic world, which they spend the first half of the film trying to get to. Alright, it's a lot of hype building up Tomorrowland. And once we get there, it's not quite what you expect. As a matter of fact, it felt like one of those rides that last a little bit too short. That's how I feel about Tomorrowland, okay? There's really not a whole lot going for this film, alright? I think kids will really enjoy this movie just because it has a little bit of, like, kid adventure in it, but me watching it as an adult, I felt that as a story, it doesn't feel like it has a very good narrative structure, okay? It kind of builds it up in the beginning, and then later on, it just fizzles away, and it just kind of just goes, and then it's all gone. All the hype, all the excitement, and all the spark is just gone, okay? So it's really unfortunate. I really don't know where Brad Bird was trying to go with this story. I think Disney is kind of out of their minds. I also feel that George Clooney is, you know, he kind of just slept his performance all the way through. You know, you know, he's done a lot of great performances before. I mean, I won't say the great performances, but that's really George Clooney being George Clooney. He acts the same way in a lot of these films. He kind of feels like Danny Ocean from Ocean's 11, but he's retired. Okay, that's what George Clooney was like in this film. As a matter of fact, you didn't even have to cast George Clooney in this film to have a Tomorrowland. It could have been any other actor. It didn't have to be George Clooney. It was just a paycheck for him. Now, the only saving grace about this film, in my opinion, was really Rafi Cassidy, who played Athena. She's a very unique character, and she does such a great job. Her performance is just really quite scene-stealing. She steals the entire movie, okay? But other than that, I really don't have a lot of good things to say about this movie. I mean, the first half was exciting. I mean, it was intriguing. I don't want to say it's exciting. It was intriguing. They kind of built up something good. The other half of it was just like, man, they really, really did a bad job in trying to keep the audience engaged because they lost it. They lost the audience after the second half. All right? So, because of that, I gotta say that this film falls in the same category as a couple of other Disney live-action films that aren't Pixar animated features, and they're not based off a fairy tale. Just like Lone Ranger and John Carter, Tomorrowland is a bomb. Okay, it is not a good film. I'm gonna give Tomorrowland a 5.5 out of 10. 5 because the first half was intriguing, and 0.5 for effort. So 5.5 out of 10, but that's all it really gets. Okay, it doesn't have a whole lot of promise to it. I can't recommend this film. I'm sure your kids will enjoy it, but other than that, it's not something I can recommend. Just because you're gonna have all this build up only to find out that the ride wasn't worth it. Alright, so that's all I gotta say in this video. As always, if you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, @RaginNation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Wears when he goes up against Superman. Alright? And, well, you know what? There's gotta be a main villain. And eventually Batman and Superman gotta put aside their differences.